Hey audience, how are you guys doing? Do all of you Caucasoids out there like World War II trivia and bland intros? Because you're in luck. I know it's been a week or so, but I made the Odessa video private like I said I would since I just couldn't find a solution. I'm close to the microphone now, because otherwise I have no comedic talent and I would be screwed 6 ways from Sunday. Mid-1945, the German Reich is in really bad shape. The Allies are closing in fast, Hitler killed Hitler, the Nazis are falling apart at the seams, and the US is dangerously close to making a nuke. However, there's a holdout in the Austrian Alps, Castle Itter. American Captain John Lee has teamed up with Josef Gangl of the German Wehrmacht, hope I'm saying that right, which used to be the main German army. By then, many of them turned against the Nazis as the war was nearing its end. Within the castle were highly important French POWs, like a general or two, some guy that played a mean game of tennis, and former Prime Ministers of France Edouard Daladier and Paul Reynaud, among other important icons. Because America was part of the Allies, and the Wehrmacht soldiers in there now rejected the Nazis, as well as an Austrian resistance, they teamed up to defend the castle from an incoming force of SS soldiers. These were the Nazis who were still loyal to the Reich and were involved in all the messed up stuff you hear about in World War II. Yeah, that's them. Now, let's get into the juicy stuff, because there's certainly no shortage. On May 3rd, a member of the Yugoslavian resistance departed from Castle Itter. However, he secretly had on him a letter requesting assistance from the US and other allies. Eventually, after a lot of adventuring and outpost dodging, he managed to reach some Yankee Doodle dandies who promptly snagged his message, knowing that it was time to act. Meanwhile, back at the old castle, the Nazi commander there died, either from suicide or murder, one of the two, we don't exactly know which. However, this meant that now, the POWs could gather arms. Later on, the castle's Czech cook stumbled across Wehrmacht Major Josef Gangl. He and his crew ditched the Nazis in place of aiding their resistance. But he couldn't just march into the castle, he had to recruit help first, obviously. Gangl had to surrender to the Austrians first in the next town over, Virgil, so they knew he was on their side and not some Nazi schleck. A bit later, a bunch of American tanks rolled in. They were ready to pack some heat when they encountered some goofy bridge they needed to cross. But being that at heart they were just a bunch of heavy tanks, the majority of them couldn't cross. After crossing, however, they encountered a bunch of SS soldiers. The two promptly fought. Thankfully, the Americans and the Germans, who used to be bad but became good, won. After a bit of traveling, our protagonists eventually reached Castle Itter. They guarded the castle for the night and assessed the place for any faults. The next morning, the main assault began as a Sherman tank blew up from one of those giant German machine gun things. I never knew what those were called. More Allied troops came in to prevent the SS from barreling in there with guns and tanks. After communication had been cut, however, one underdog took charge. Remember I mentioned the tennis guy? He put his athletic skill to good use when he decided to make a run for it. Somehow evading the encroaching SS, a journalist from Quebec who was part of the relief team that was called earlier, saw the tennis guy and was able to protect him. After long last, the relief team arrived at 4 p.m. that day. The SS was mega outnumbered and was defeated, with many being taken captive as POWs. All of the French guys were escorted back to Paris. However, the battle got its last kill, and only kill, when teammate and former hate icon Gangl was killed by a sniper when he tried to escort Prime Minister Reynaud. Well, that's the end of this tale. I'm glad we're back in the swing of things. I might revisit the Crusader States videos one day, but for now, I'll stick to my list I have taped in my room of video ideas. What a goofy battle. Until next time, stay safe out there, wear your masks, and don't cough on other people. Subscribe, or else, I don't know, I'll eat you or something.